Hey guys, Ryan and Adam here with Anglers, giving you this week's fishing report. So why don't we start it off with some exciting stuff? I know you were out there catching some rockfish this week, right, Adam?
Yeah, rock fishing is just absolutely lights out right now, guys. We've got suspended fish in open water. We've got them under birds. We've got a couple fish up shallow, too.
Yeah.
We've got them on the bottom. We've got them busting at the surface. Really any way that you want to go out there and fish for them, as long as you can find them. Everybody's kind of jigging for them right now. The live lining bite has died off. Well, live lining with spot has died off. In the northern part of the bay, people are still live lining with eels, but we are no longer selling spot, and most of them spot have gone south for the winter.
Yep.
So jigging is going to be really effective. Trolling is going to be really effective as well. A lot of guys are trolling umbrellas right now. Those bunkers are schooling up tight. And then as far as jigging goes, guys are doing paddle tail, straight tail plastics, as well as metals. Something like these Z-Man curly tails might be a nice little alternative presentation, because everybody's out there throwing paddle tails, straight tails, as we just said.
Yep.
If you want to throw the fish something different in some of those pressured areas, as I know you guys have probably seen videos of just hordes of boats on small schools of fish.
Yeah,
So
definitely, unfortunately, I think that's going to be that way tomorrow morning. Saturday looks really, really good as far as fishing, but it's definitely going to be crowded because the wind's down finally.
Yeah.
But like you said, throw a different profile, throw different weights, throw different colors, and if you're on the fish, you're bound to catch some.
Yeah, for sure. And some spots you guys can go to target these rockfish. The Patapsco River, both shallow and sort of like the legend humps near the mouth, that's been pretty good. The lumps around Pools Island, drifting eels, has been pretty good as well. Bay Bridge pilings have been producing plenty of fish. And then, where else? Mouth of the Chop Tank has been really good. Eastern Bay has been really good. The rock piles in front of Tom's Point have been really good.
Yeah, Chesapeake Beach has been good.
Chesapeake
I know
Beach has
up
been
in the
good.
shallows there, people have been catching plenty of fish under birds on bait balls in a couple feet of water, as well as off in those channel edges in the main part of the bay.
Yeah,
So-
but to be honest, guys, the rockfish are everywhere. If you want to stay away from some of those really well-known spots that we mentioned, and sort of just go find your own fish and be away from all those boats, check any ledges, humps, things like that. In the really early morning, you can check some shallow water structure, but I would focus most of your efforts on those channel ledges and holes and humps and things like that.
Definitely, especially when the sun gets up. Those birds are going to be up in the sky. They're going to be looking for fish just like we are. And unfortunately, they are way better at it than we are sometimes. So if you see birds working on bait, it's a good place to at least start.
Yep. And then aside from rockfish, most of your white perch are no longer in the shallows. I say most because I know some of you guys have been catching them here and there in the shallows, but if you really want to go out and reliably target them, you're going to want to go to some deeper spots. You want to tell us about those, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely. Some of my favorite spots are off Pedickery Point. There is all kinds of, if you look at a chart there's all kinds of humps and holes, and the white perch coming out of the Magathie tend to sit there. Same with the Severn. Tolly Point, right south of the Severn River, is also a good point where those fish hole up for the winter. Anywhere from like 15 to 30 foot of water typically, and you can catch them using either heavier metal jigs, like a ½ ounce up to 1 ounce, like the rain minnow on the bottom, or you can use sabiki rigs. I probably would recommend the bigger sabiki rigs, a size 13, this time of year, baiting them with either like artificials like gulp or razor clams, and bloodworms work well too.
Grass shrimp too.
Yeah, grass
if you
shrimp.
can find them.
Yeah.
And then as far as some other stuff we got going on in the bay, your blue catfish bite is okay. It's nothing crazy right now, but those fish are moving down out of the creeks and the rivers towards the mouths and the main bay.
Yeah.
If you want to look, I know some guys are bycatching them, like up by Pools Island when they're drifting eels.
Yep.
But if you want to reliably target those blue catfish, get to the mouths of your rivers, find some contour, and just drop down some bunker chunks of eel, live eels, anything like that. Doesn't have to be complicated. Just kind of set up, get your rods out. You can chum for them as well. A lot of people like to do that. You can also chunk by throwing chunks of LY in while your baits are on the bottom. But you can really look for those fish anywhere at the mouths of your rivers where you have some contour. As we talk about every week, you can head up the Patuxent a little ways to find some really big blue cats. You can head up the Potomac towards DC to find some really big blue cats and flathead cats as well. If you're fishing for flathead, I like live bait. Seems that gets them a little bit more fired up. So like a live white perch, a live bluegill, something like that would be really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. And then as far as the freshwater side, we've been seeing a lot of crappie, largemouth bass, and chain pickerel being caught in the mill ponds over on the eastern shore. It is honestly, in my opinion, one of the best times to fish over there because you're getting a mix of pretty much everything. The crappie bite is getting really good, as well as the chain pickerel, and you might still get some largemouth bass in there too. One of my favorite baits to throw at any of those ponds over there, really any pond at all, is going to be something like this Panther Martin spinner. These come in a 3-pack here, and this is literally all you need to go over there and catch some fish. Other than that, you got anything else to add to that?
Yeah, and aside from the mill ponds, any of your ponds, lakes, reservoirs, those fish are going to be fired up, being your pickerel, your crappie.
Yeah. Loch Raven has been good too. I've heard a couple reports from there on big largemouth.
Yep. Those fish are putting on the fall feed bag right now. As we get closer to winter, it's going to get cold. They're going to want to make sure they have all their fat reserves. They're feeding heavy on shad in a lot of these places. So you can throw, these are the Megabass Mag Drafts in the 5-inch. These are kind of new. We just got them in. So anything like those big shad profiles are going to score you a big bite, and even a small bite. I mean, like I was fishing a 6-inch glide bait, catching fish that were way too small to hit it the other day at one of the mill ponds. So,
but if you're not getting any bites on the bigger baits, also you can try slowing it down with a jerk bait too. We got these Megabass jerk baits here. Again, you're representing a shad, but you're just slowing it down on the retrieve. So that water's pushing into the 40s now. I mean, we're getting some of these 30-degree nights. So that water is chilling down quickly, and slowing down your presentation might just get you more bites.
Yeah, and that jerkbait's going to be really good in your tidal creeks and rivers as well, where that grass is dying off, and those pickerel are feeding hard for the winter as well. Places to target your largemouth crappie in these areas that we mentioned before. You're going to want to find structure that drops off to deep water for the bass. And if you're crappie fishing, you want to try and find them suspended around some deeper structure. Going to be tight, schooled up, suspended right now.
If you can find deep structure right now, and either throw one of those spinners or like a tandem rig with 2 shad darts or something like that, tip with maybe a mealworm or something, or a minnow, that's going to work really well for your crappie fishing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the smallmouth side of things, those fish are still feeding pretty hard too. They're not really up shallow anymore, so if you are heading out on the Monocacy, the Upper Potomac, or the Susquehanna River, you're going to want to try and find some deeper areas. But they're doing the same thing that the largemouth are, trying to feed up, get fat for the winter. So either these jerk baits, anything really that's a shad profile, a rattle trap, a swim bait, anything like that, it's going to get bit when those fish are feeding hard on shad. Trout, both wild and stocked trout, are going to be fired up this time of year. Most of the, well, not most, all of the DNR stocking has been done by now, but there are still plenty of fish to be found. You can check on their website to see where to go to catch those stocked trout. And also, if you're up in Western Maryland or even up by Baltimore, you can kind of just go blue lining and look on the map for some really small streams and try and catch some wild or native brook and brown trout. You were talking about the Panther Martin. These are kind of my go-to when I'm trying to at least use a search bait to find some trout. These are going to be really, really good for you there.
Basically, what we're saying is you can catch any freshwater, any species at all.
Really, any
inline
species.
spinner.
Yeah, absolutely. And then before we take you out to the coast, just one more thing that's going on in the lower bay right now, especially up the Potomac, and a touch in the Tangier Sound, but mostly up the Potomac, is going to be your puppy drum and speckled trout. We talked about the water temperatures dropping. That might die off any day now, but guys have been catching puppy drum, a couple slot drum, and speckled trout up in the Potomac. You can throw a gulp at them. It's really hard to beat a gulp, or just any sort of subsurface bait right now, like a swim bait, even a twitch bait would do good right now.
Yeah, definitely. And then looking at the coast, down towards the Atlantic coast, Ocean City, Chesapeake, up to New Jersey has been really, really good striper fishing. Rock fishing for trophy stripers in the inlet, back bay, and inside the 3-mile line in the ocean out of Ocean City has been really good. I know I've seen a couple reports on the surf of big rockfish being caught. So that's a ton of fun if you want to go and do that. Most of the guys are just out there chunking bunker, but you could also throw plugs at them. We have some big Yozuri plugs in here that a lot of guys like to throw. More popular in Jersey, but absolutely can be applied down here at Ocean City or Assateague.
Yeah, for sure. And then if you, first of all, you can also still catch rockfish from the Route 50 bridge. I know plenty of guys
definitely
are doing that right now. You can still catch a couple flounder in the back bay, and you can still catch tautog at the inlet on those rocks. But push out a little bit to your wrecks and reefs. Guys are catching some nice doormat flounders right now. A couple sheephead, plenty of tog, sea bass, triggerfish out there as well. We have a really good wreck fishing bite going on, wreck and reef fishing bite.
Yeah, and with the wind, obviously just keep an eye on the weather. It's been really windy, but there has been these windows that you can get out. And when people are utilizing those windows in the wind, it has paid off a good amount of the time.
For sure. And last but not least, we'll talk about what's going on out in the canyons. You want to take that away, Ryan?
Yeah, so there is a little bit of warm water pushing in, but again, it's been really windy, and I don't think anyone's been able to explore it. I know a couple of guys have been chattering about going out and trying to find some tuna because there is like 72-degree water, 74-degree water right outside that canyon wall. I haven't looked at the shot in the last couple days. I just know it was pushing in, so that might be something to look into if you guys are interested in getting offshore. Mahi were still being caught like a week ago, and I'm sure they would still be in there if the water's warming up. But other than that, the offshore bite, your marlin are pretty much gone, your wahoo are pretty much gone. Possibility for tuna, mahi still, and then golden tiles, swordfish. Before this big blow last week, the swordfish bite was on fire, so might be able to get that again after this wind calms down a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that about does it for this week's fishing report. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.